We're good.
This is the Beecher Board of Education Finance Committee meeting. It's Thursday, July 31st, 2025, and it is 9:59 a.m. Roll call. Okay, so this meeting is called to order. Any public comments? None present. FY26 budget.
All right, so we have, you got the whole 36-page packet in your email.
Yeah.
I didn't want to print out all 36
Right.
pages. So what we did is gave you the important one, which is the budget summary. And then I gave you an even cleaner Cliff Notes version of what you're looking at to kind of to try to condense everything down from 36 pages to 1 page. So the good news is we're projected to be in the black as promised this given year. And that's including, so if you look at, we'll just kind of go through this list right here. You can find all of these on line item 22. Good Lord, I need my reading glasses.
It's very
I forgot
Yep.
mine in my car.
So
I know.
the good news is it's bigger here.
Yeah.
So the important numbers, if you want to write them down, if you're looking at a budget, or if you're at home checking out the budget, the important line items that you're going to care about are line item 11. That is your revenue within each one of your budgetary, I'm sorry?
Funds or categories.
Yeah, funds. And then 21 is your actual expenditure in those said funds. And then, nope, I'm sorry, 22 is your net. I apologize. It is, I need my glasses here. 19 is your expenditure lines. So 11 is your revenue lines, 19 is your expenditure lines. You'll see it also mirrors 21 because we don't have any on behalfs. 22 is your difference. So if it's in the black, that's a positive thing. If it's in red, that's a negative thing. And I'll explain to you the 3 that are in the red. And then if you go to the next page, line 81, that is going to be your account.
Balance?
Not even balance, but yes, your cash on hand. Yep.
Okay.
So to kind of give you guys some cliff notes, the revenue this year we're projecting is 18, we'll say 18.4. The expenditures we're projecting are about 18.4.
Wow.
We're projecting a surplus of about $3,600. Now, if you go back last year about this time, when we had these meetings, I said, hey, we're gonna have a deficit of 600,000, but as the year goes on, we get new numbers. The big one that always changes is, remember, your levy goes from, your first payment happens in May, and that goes on the previous year's fiscal year's numbers. So when you guys see the budget presentation in September, even the number I gave you for the amended budget is slightly changed because you don't know exactly what percentage of those first 3 levy payments come to you. So when I tell you this is a $3,000 surplus, once we get formal EBF numbers, CPPRT numbers, and once we know the CPI and levy numbers, that will be a little bit better at the end of the year. Okay. Again, this is very not cautionary, but we try to make sure that we have our revenues a little low, our expenses a little high. That way, when it all washes out, we're still you are seeing a quote unquote worst case scenario if everything goes as it's supposed to go. Okay. Your ed fund, your O&M fund, your debt, transportation, and working cash are all in the positives. If you look on line, which line did I give you guys? Sorry. Should have brought my glasses. Getting old. Line 22. Those are the ones that are in the black. Simply means that the revenue we're bringing in surpasses the expenditures we have going out. That's really important that you try to keep your ed, your O&M, and your transportation and working cash. Those are all interchangeable reserves that you can use. Go back 3 years ago, we pulled some from each one of those to pay for some O&M projects. Those are your important ones. They're all important, but those are the ones that you're going to want to watch because those you can interchange through your guys' actions. The 3 that are in the red are the IMRF, the tort, and the fire life safety. I'm not sure if any of you guys were on the board 4 years ago when I started doing this. Your IMRF at that time had a balance of $480,000 in it. That is a fund you can't pull out of to go pay for other things. So at that time, I was shorting the IMRF fund and making sure, because we were deficit spending, I was putting more funds into ed fund and O&M and not transportation. So now we are starting to get back into, we still have a $200,000 surplus in that fund. You'll notice it's only shorted $15,000. And my guess is at the end of the year, once we get that new levy payment, that's gonna be a wash. You'll be back in the black there.
What do we use that money for?
IMRF, that pays for the social security and our IMRF funding of our non-certified staff.
Okay, that's what that, okay.
Yep. Your tort fund, that, again, it's a $438,000 revenue right now. You can't use it for anything else, so we've started using a little bit additional for building insurance, and that's where the attorney fees comes out of right there. If you don't use it all, it still goes back into there. So really what happened was I just didn't levy for it as heavily as I have in years past. Again, I reallocated those funds to make sure that those four biggies are always covered. And then fire life safety, that normally, I think if you looked in years past, it's been like 3,000, 4,000, 5,000. The reason that's 215, that is where we're going to fund the window project at the elementary. So I'll have the architects put that on our life health safety plan, and so when you expend it, again, you have $570,000 in there instead of coming out of your O&M. You have that, and as long as it's on your health life safety, which it can easily be added on there by our architects. So that's why I decided to put it into there. It allows you to kind of see. So at the end of the day, yes, you're right. I told you it's a $3,000 surplus, but I've just given you a couple things that are big ticket items that you're going to be spending this year that aren't affecting your O&M, your ed fund, so you still are in the black. If they're done, then you know where you're at. If you don't do something, that takes away from it. Going down to the third one, the projects and the major additions. I already told you about the windows at the elementary. 215 is high, just so you know. The architects came back, now again, this was last year, about 175. GRP came back at about 200. And so we have another company who's kind of just informally looking at it for me, that's not costing us any money for them to look, to give me an idea on what that's going to be. The other part of that is, I doubt even if we did get it done, it would be done in this fiscal year. It'd probably be next fiscal year anyway, because I'm not going to have windows replaced with kids here. I can't get it done in August before kids get started. And so it's probably a next summer plan. But if we can maybe get it started where they can do some, kind of like with the HVAC, they can do some non-intrusive parts of the job, and they start budgeting for that. It would be coming out of the life health safety. Your boiler at the junior high, we've made mention of it. Art from Key West kind of said, hey, it could be on its last leg. With the amount of rebuilding it did on the one last year, Nate seems to think that we should be good for another year on that, but we still budgeted $100,000 just in case. But last year we ran on one for most of the year while it was getting rebuilt, so we're back up to two. That's where he's pretty comfortable with that. The plumbing projects here at the high school, obviously they're not done yet. They are finishing the bathroom up. They had to wait for a mason and everything like that. So that's on this budget. So that's that $75,000. And then you have your health insurance increases and your CBA Teamsters contracts increases. Those are your big ones. Those are always the big ones. Just your ed fund is $14 million out of your $18 million. That's the way schools happen to be. And then some things to remember. I've kind of mentioned this already. We don't have the official EBF numbers. If you actually go into that 36-page document we sent you, if you go to the EBF spending plan, which I have to fill out once I get the EBF numbers, they actually have EBF numbers in there. Now, they have not released them to us yet, so I'm not sure if that's just a placeholder. Those are very similar to the numbers I would expect to see. And so tentatively, those are the numbers I did use. So if you look at your budget, you'll see that EBF will add up to the number that they have on that EBF spending plan page. Which is about, right on where we were kind of thinking we were going to be. That still leaves us in tier 1, and so we're at 72% adequacy target, still in tier 1, and that's not going to change. If we're in tier 1 now, you're in tier 1 again unless you do another referendum down the pipeline. That's just going to continue to happen. So we cross our fingers and hope that EBF continues, evidence, well, you guys are all educators, so I don't have to explain it to you. We hope that EBF continues to be one of those things, but with Illinois tightening their belt and not having the funding and potentially deficit next year, I don't want to be a naysayer, but I don't see the state funding us like they have in the past. They're saying, and Pritzker's always been very good with education, he's always said we'll make the minimum EBF payments, but we have a rainy day fund, so we should be all right. PPRT for sure has not come in yet. What we did is took last year, so if you remember 4 years ago, we got a lot of PPRT. The entire state did, everybody did. Well, they found out 2 years ago that was a clerical error, more or less. And so instead of making school districts and municipalities pay back that, they just really just cut you back a lot. So last year we ended up getting we're at PPRT, like,
350 and 75.
yeah. So, and then we just got the last one that was on this fiscal year. So we're at 375, we're projecting 350. So we even scale it back a little bit more. Now, the gentleman down at ISB, who is the ISB accountant, the ISB CSBO, said it's probably not gonna be a cut again, it's probably gonna be actually what you had last year. They've made most of those gains back, but being conservative, we cut it back about a 10%. It's still enough, so again, if you guys remember, your PPRT pays for your bond, your debt certificate, I shouldn't say bond, your debt certificate. So you still have enough to cover that debt certificate, and then I put the remaining balance of that in the O&M to make sure your O&M was in the block. Already talked about fiscal year is July to June, and so your levy payments aren't always July to June, they come a little bit beforehand. You are in a tax cap county, and so you're always going to be at CPI or 5%, unless referendum, whatever is lower. Hate to be the bearer of bad news, costs, rates, and expenses will only continue to increase in the world we live in. Nobody's going to cut back on expenses. But the good news is we're almost at we can obviously see the light at the end of the tunnel. We don't have any major projects around here. You probably have to do a junior high roof in a few years, maybe next year. But that's we're now in the maintenance part of our job, which is a lot nicer. Which, again, I wish we weren't tier 1. I wish we weren't 72%. But I feel a little better being able to say that now that we don't have abatement, we have HVAC. We've kind of navigated those really tough waters. So it's kind of where we're at. In terms of big projects this year, the superintendent's probably not going to bring in anything that's hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. There's your budget in a nutshell. And a special thanks to Katie. Katie does a tremendous job.
Yes, she does. Yes, thank you, Katie.
Gathering all those things and making sure everything. Also, in addition to that, we just had our audit. So the auditor was here for a day. Normally, he said the same thing he does every year. Phenomenal job. Great job to the ladies in the office. And so he'll come probably in October to present to you all his findings. But
So,
go ahead.
oh, I'm sorry, is the tier 1 adequacy funding, is that pretty status quo where it stays, is it about 76%?
For us?
Yeah.
We went from,
Hello.
we went from 68, and then with the referendum, we went up to like 70, we went up to the
Okay.
72.
I'm the first one here.
Teresa, do you have a meeting today?
Huh?
You don't have a meeting today, Teresa? No, it's, you're talking about transportation meeting? Oh, I think you're a week short.
No.
Kelly's not here?
Yeah, you're,
Hey, I was here.
Thursday, August 7th is what I got it. It's-
When?
Thursday.
That's Thursday.
Thursday, August 7th. You can still say, it's a budget meeting.
Okay. You don't want me here for a budget meeting. It's been messed up. I'm a great grandma.
Congratulations.
I know.
Congratulations.
That's what it's been. I need school to go back so I can be on break.
Soon.
I do.
Yeah.
You know, when the grandkids are 3 hours away,
Yeah.
I'm there all the time. Well,
Well, you get another week with them. See you next Thursday. Oh,
I don't know, I don't go back to school till the 20th.
which route are you guys?
Wilmington.
Wilmington? Okay.
Yeah, so,
Well, have a great rest of your day.
yeah, okay, I crashed a party.
Oh, you're good.
Yeah, well, you could have stayed.
Yeah,
Did a public
Kelly
comment.
is in Ohio, what am I thinking? Oh.
So, regards to Beecher, yes, you're gonna be there.
Steve, okay.
Okay. Now, again, as I kind of conveyed to you guys, a few years ago, the bulk of your funding is not state revenue, it's local revenue. So in terms of, the scary thing is CPI is probably gonna stay around 3%. Even in the great years, we had, I think CPI one year was 7%, you can only claim 5.
Yeah.
So you're never gonna be able to catch up here in Beecher. That's why that referendum was super important, at least,
Yeah.
it wasn't a Band-Aid, I mean, I don't wanna say it because that sounds disrespectful. It was a nice little
Yeah.
help, but as I said then, you're probably gonna be looking in another decade to have to do something again. But you're gonna continue to maintain. But, yeah, outside of tier 1, not gonna happen. Any other questions?
Any other questions? No, you have to do it. Any public comments?
Teresa had a big, very big.
So, do you want to add that to the minutes?
All right, then we will, we'll get this out, which, the whole 36 pages.
We'll go up on the website.
Yep.
Either this afternoon or tomorrow. It'll be in the paper.
August 7th.
August 7th.
Yep, so when I'm in a transportation meeting next Thursday,
Yes, you
it'll be in the
are.
paper. Hopefully by then we'll have the EBF. Just full disclosure, if I don't have EBF by then, I could probably do the EBF spending plan, but it's gonna be, if I don't have the official numbers, it'd be kind of silly. So if people look at it and say, why isn't there a spending plan done? What I might do is we might post it, and then what I'll probably do is complete it, and then at the board meeting, I'll say, hey, guys, we're gonna update the one that's on the website. We won't change any numbers unless EBF tells me to change numbers, if that's fair. Again, that's a living document until you guys officially approve it in September. So even if you guys see it in September 7th, or I'm sorry, August 7th, you're like, oh, why is this changed? Because it's a living document. Until you officially say, hey, that's our budget, we're gonna continue to get it as close as possible.
All right.
Anything else? Oh, she's got the gavel.
Hey, I'm taking this home. This was a record meeting. Adjourn, 10:17.